Again, one of these days I'll get good at this transition stuff. Today is not that day still. Like maybe one day I'll smarten up and put it on like some kind of keybind or something. So it's just like beep boop. I mean, I'm already halfway there. Like I have the transition, from the starting to the game screen. Maybe I should just take that out. Maybe we'll try that next time. Anyway, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the cafe. Whoa, cursed images be upon me? Okay. There, how's that? I hope you're all doing well tonight. So this week for a What the H Wednesday, I've decided to go back to what, this sort of was supposed to be in the first place. Going through my backlog of games and at least trying things I haven't played yet, and just seeing how they go. That coincided with receiving this from Supernova earlier today. So this is Undusted Letters from the Past. It was published by Toge Productions. I think that's how you pronounce it. Toge. They were also the developers and publishers of the first two Coffee Talk games. I frankly am not sure what their level of involvement, if any, is with Coffee Talk Tokyo. But we've seen their stuff before. I'd like to think it's good quality stuff. Which is why this was on my wish list. This is why I was looking forward to it. I got myself a nice little hot cocoa with maple vanilla whipped cream. And I put some sprinkles on it because I was feeling fancy. And of course, it wouldn't be me if I didn't also put in some instant coffee. So let's just get to it. I'm in front of the menu. Which is also why I should probably get some kind of overlay. Let's see what options there are. Full screen, VSync, volume, effects, music, ambient sounds. Oh, it is controller compatible by the looks of it. I wasn't sure if it would be, so I was prepared to go for it. Keyboard and mouse, but I guess I don't have to. Looks like it's our basic of just how to do everything. And there's really nothing to it but to do it, so let's get started. Also, if the game is too loud or too quiet or anything, please let me know. When I think of my family home, the first things that come to mind are the glittering lake and the gently sloping hills. After walking through the bustling streets, over the hills, and along the lakeside, my house and its bright red roof soon came into view. I would chat with Mom and Dad as we passed through the front gate together, and the big lemon tree in the yard would always greet us. For someone like me who lacked courage, maybe all I needed was an excuse, no matter how small. The letter from my aunt was enough. Dear Adora, long time no see. How have you been? Are you doing all the things you've always wanted to do? It's been a while since I've heard from you. Come to think of it, the last time we saw each other was at Lily's funeral. I'm sorry to trouble you after all this time, but I can't find the necklace your mother gave me. I'm fairly certain that I left it at your house after one of my visits. I really thought I had lost it for good, you know. I know it's a bit of a hassle, but could you send it to me? It should be in the attic. That's where Lily and I spent most of our time together, when I was over. Thank you. Love, your aunt. It's been a long time since I last came back. I should tidy up the place. I suppose now's the right time. For the time being, it's the least I can do. Looks like maybe... Nope, not turning me. Hold on, moving me. There we go. Let's see how this works. The key. Ah, here it is. Ah! Oof! Ah! Oh! See, I bet you're extra glad that I'm over here now, because now you can see me land. Damn, didn't stick the landing. I never do. The closest I get to sticking the landing is Family Guy death posing every now and then. So I have it set to send me in this direction, because usually I'm over here, so that just sends me off screen. And it sort of did. It sent me vertical, and then I crashed. It's rusted all over. I'll have to clean it before I can use it. Clean. Hold RT and move the R stick around to zoom in and out. I love how I'm very much not doing that. Big ass key. Move the stick and rotate the key. Hold the bumper and move the stick around to move the key. Tap it to reset its position. Move the stick to move the cursor onto the tool on the left. Press A to select it and A to clean the key. Yeah, so we already had it picked up. Use blah to pick up or put down cleaning tools. Reach 40% cleaning progress. I get the feeling there's probably something if we make it to 100%, so let's do our best. Oh, there's something that this reminds me of, and I can't remember what it is. It sort of reminds me... No wonder I don't remember. It was quite a while ago. So Lucajin has a YouTube channel, of course. And for a brief time, she also had an ASMR channel. And she did some, like, relaxing gaming. And one of the games that she played, I forget what it was called. But it was like this... I think it's called Zen Bound. Where it's like these wooden statues. You have to, like, wrap them up as best you can. So, like, the rope that you put on it, it leaves, like, paint splatters, so you were supposed to basically cover up every inch of whatever statue you were working on. This is sort of reminding me of this. It reminds me of the Ace Attorney fourth case in the first game. The fourth case or the fifth case with the fingerprinting and everything. Alright, the fifth case. Yeah, we'll see more of that eventually. Like, once we get into the DS era games, but we're not there yet. You know, Barista, you could do an ASMR stream. Is that not what this is? In the description of this game, like, on the Steam page, it literally says, Pretty sure it literally says virtual ASMR on it somewhere. Like right now, your voice is very soothing. Well, that's also because I'm not trying to. Well, that's not what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is I'm not. This tends to be more how I talk normally anyway. This mellower, more low key voice. Oh, good, I finished. And I'm also leaning into that because I figured that would be the kind of energy this game would, that would work with this game, rather. I'm glad it's working out. Before I continue, briefly speaking on Ace Attorney, let me just double check my info to make sure I'm not giving misinformation. Yeah, right now, the first Ace Attorney trilogy, which we're in the middle of playing right now, all three of the first games, Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney, Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Justice for All, and Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney uh, Trials and Tribulations. The collection that holds all three of those is currently on sale for 67% off. So you get all three of those games for like $10 before tax. After tax, it's probably like 11 or 12 something, but still. Three good, three like awesome quality visual novels for only $10. I would do it if I were you. And on top of that, the Apollo Justice Ace Attorney trilogy, the second trilogy, the fourth, fifth, and sixth games, those are also on sale. For like that bundle is on sale right now for 60% off. Normally it's 50, right now it's only 20. But if you get the Ace Attorney Anthology bundle, which has all 6 of the mainline games, you get the bundle for $26.99 before tax. So that's 6 games for like just under $30. Not only that, but the Ace Attorney Investigations Miles Edgeworth collection, that's also on sale, 50% off. The Great Ace Attorney Chronicles, the first excuse me, the first Great Ace Attorney game. That's also on sale for 60% off. Well, actually, no, you know what? I was wrong. I think the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles is both of them, is the first and second game of that as well. Anyway, it excuse me. Yeah, Capcom's having a whole big sale event for upcoming Black Friday. The sale has already started and it's going all the way until December 1st. So you've got just under 2 weeks. So if you've watched me play the first couple Ace Attorney games and you want to play them for yourself, or you want to get ahead of me and play the third one, or you want to see what comes after this, now would be the time to pick them up, I'd say. Again, that's just me. Oh, the chill atmosphere and everything is why you got the yeet and cursed emotes out of the way. I mean, you could always do that. I'll scream in lowercase like my friend does when we play video games. He always goes, ah. I recently got the Miles Edgeworth games because I figured it would be funny if I played those games after you were done with Ace Attorney, assuming you don't have them and don't plan on playing them. I don't have them, and I'm not entirely sure if I was going to play them. Because I think I told you this, Nova, but I think you don't necessarily need to play the mainline Ace Attorney games to know what's going on. Like, yeah, there's going to be some background stuff, like little Easter eggs, nods to mainline stuff. Like, you might see characters in the background who appear in the main game, things like that. But you don't necessarily need to have all of the context, I believe. So, hell, even if you started with that, I don't think you would be missing out on horribly much. Though I think probably at least for best experience, I don't remember where the investigations games take place on the timeline, but about where we're at now is probably a good starting point. Like what I've played of the games on stream where we've met, we've met Edgeworth, we've met Franziska, we've met some other characters I think who are going to show up. Or like get little nods and references and things. So, frankly, Nova, if you wanted to start playing those like tomorrow or something, I think you'd be good. Yeah, they look more involved with gameplay than the main games, which are just really visual novels. Yeah. Yeah, there's more... Like, there's still the visual novel element, but there's also... For lack of a better term, you get to more actively take part in investigating. Like, it's not just, oh, you show up, you talk to somebody, and maybe you examine the background, and sometimes something comes up. No, the game outright tells you, at least from what I remember of what little I played of it, the game outright tells you whether or not you're actually done there or not. But it's been so long since I played what little bit of the first game that I did that I don't remember. I just thought it'd be funny for a duality between you and me. LMAO. Yeah, that too. So what you're saying is I need to come into your stream and, thirst over somebody. Is that how that works? Because you come in my streams and you thirst over Edgeworth. I don't know who I would thirst over, though. That's a lie. I know exactly who I will thirst over. I'll thirst over Gumshoe. I know Gumshoe shows up. So that's what I'll do. I will show up to your streams if you play it on stream. Not saying you have to. Don't feel like you have to just because I'm making this bit. I'll show up and just thirst over Gumshoe the whole time. Just be sitting there like, my man. And I will throw in my cursed emote to try to get his attention. Oh, I got them to play on stream? Oh, okay. Gotcha. Yeah, so there's that. About to say Gumshoe is in that game from the footage I've seen. Yes. Yes, he is. Anyway, and cuz Edgeworth. Yeah, that's why I figured you got those instead of literally any of the other ones, because he stars in them. I mean, fair. I do not blame you for that. And like, they're good games, Brent. Speaking of good games, let's get back to this. When was the last time this place was cleaned? There's so much dust that I can barely breathe. I need to go to the attic and find that necklace. Huh? Why is it locked? Now that I think of it, I've hardly ever been into the attic. Mom was always the one in charge of it. Oh well, I need to clean the rest of the house anyway. The attic key should eventually turn up. Where should I even start? The house key. It hasn't been used in a long time. After being neglected for so long, the house was so heavily laden with dust that I needed a mask to breathe normally. Well, that, and because I'm watching you play through them, I don't have a desire to play them myself right now, and if that changes in the future, I can easily wait for another sale. That's very true, considering this is no less than the second or third time that they've gone on sale since I started playing them. Like, even if we were to say since I started streaming, which was in February. So that's what, 9 months it's gone on sale at least 2 or 3 times. That's not a complaint. It's not a bug. It's a feature. I opened a window and started clearing out some of the dust. When it was cleaning day, I used to be in charge of the floors. Mom took care of the furniture, and Dad handled the windows and any tall places that were out of reach. I closed my eyes. I could almost hear it all again. The sounds of Mom wiping down the furniture, Dad's humming. While cleaning the living room, I found a dust-covered photo frame on a shelf. Housed inside was our first family photo. Chapter 0, complete. Chapter 1, Once Upon a Time. A special photo. Clean the item. Also, it looks like we can go back through and pick things to clean. I tried to go ahead. Please clean the item from the previous stage first. So it looks like a story progression type deal. We can see silhouettes. How far does this go? So it looks like we've got to clean 16 things all together. Till we finally find the attic key. A special photo. Clean the item. God, I love cleaning games like Power Wash Simulator. It's so relaxing. Right? It's also something you can just like turn your brain off and really get into. Like that one time I turned on Power Wash Simulator and just ended up yapping for like 3 hours. Hence why I do not plan on doing that again anytime soon. I did have a silly idea. Well, I'm not sure if silly is the right word, but perhaps I can change your mind on that because Power Wash Simulator has co-op. Yes, it does. I think Power Wash Simulator is, when you're on your own, it's nice and relaxing and can be pretty chill. But when you're with other people, depending on how much you want to actually complete your goals and everything, it can turn into a whole mess. At least that's just my thought. Ad break should be finishing about now. Yeah, so if a silly, again, I'm not sure if silly is the right word, but a thought I had going forward at one point, briefly circling back to Ace Attorney. We're heading toward where the timeline picks up. So, like, there's a time skip between, like, the end of the 3rd game and beginning of the 4th game. And when that jump, takes place, we're coming up on that. So, like, the trial the trial of the first trial of the fourth game takes place on a particular day that's coming up this April. And for the sillies, I thought about waiting. I'm sure we'll be done with the third game by then, and waiting to do the fourth game. A, because I need to get the second trilogy, and B, waiting until then, because it's like, oh, we're in Ace Attorney timeline. Ooh. Though I'm not exactly sure how well that will line up. I haven't actually looked at the calendar to see if that's a day I would be streaming anyway. Well, it would be a day I'm normally streaming, but I don't know if I have plans. I probably will have plans, and I'm mostly saying this because the day that case takes place is actually my real-life wedding anniversary. So maybe we could do it, like, if I don't stream that day or something, I could do it the following day. But yeah, that was just a little thought I had. I figured I'd kick that out there now, maybe get some other thoughts on it other than me being like, oh, this would be so silly, haha. Because remember, we have a definitive year and date for one event in the entire Ace Attorney timeline. That's the DL6 incident. And using that, we can, people have gone through and figured out, like, what years the events are taking place. That's why I'm saying, oh, it's gonna happen next year. But yeah, that was just a thought I had. Figured I'd put it out there, see if anybody had thoughts. Like I said, we still have the entire last case of this game to go, and the entire third game to go before we get there. But I'm pretty sure we'll get there in 5 months. Like, especially if we keep up a pretty consistent, trial, investigation, trial, investigation. Almost Christmas means it wasn't Christmas. But yeah, that's just something that's been running through my head. Figured I'd put that out there. A special photo. When we went to take our first family photo, Dad had made a peculiar suggestion. While it wasn't unusual for him to say or do something quirky, none of us saw it coming. Why don't we all wear animal costumes? It'll be Adora's first ever family photo, so let's make it a special and unforgettable experience. He pleaded like a giddy child, arms firmly wrapped around a large costume. Mom let out a deep sigh. Here we go again. It was massive. He really loved his jokes and pranks. A complete 180 from Mom. Yeah, let me guess, she was always the more serious and stern one. And as a result, she was probably made to be more of the bad guy or something. Maybe not by not intentionally, I bet, but like, it helps if I actually press the correct button. I figure if we want to go for, like, better completion on this, I should do the back first, and then we'll go for the front. I'm not saying I'm a completionist, but when you give me a bar like this, that I can actively track my completion of something, I'm gonna do it. Like I said, I think that's what made me think of Zenbound earlier. And it feels like, since I'm using a controller, there is, like, a bit of vibration when I am cleaning something. So that's that's helpful, I think. Now I don't know if it's just catching the edges now. Let's do that. Just gently scrubbing away. Maybe I'm thinking of it completely wrong, but I feel like a finer tool would be better for something like this. Like, yeah, the sponge for the front, maybe, but like for the sides, maybe something that has more grip, for lack of a better term, like a. Hang on, hang on, hang on. Nova, Nova. Gremlin. Just because I say I don't have it yet doesn't mean go and get it right now. Nova Bliss. Also, let's get a bless you, Mr. Barista, in the chat. I just heard him sneeze in the other room. And frankly, I think it would be funny. I love how there's just your stereo your standard gremlin face. Did not have to do that, but I appreciate that you did. Well, at least now I can stare at this art of some of my favorite characters from that game on the banner image. Hello, how are you doing? You know, saying that, I realize I haven't actually I haven't motorboated anybody recently in Ace Attorney. Frankly, there hasn't been anybody to motorboat lately. I mean, Acro wasn't bad on the eyes, but I didn't necessarily want to motorboat him. Maybe somebody will come up next case that'll want to. I haven't just... I can't remember / haven't decided yet. I think that's the sides and the back pretty well done. You can always motorboat characters you've already motorboated just because. This is very true. Like, especially if there's repeat characters, like people who come back from prior cases. Because I'm not going to say who, but I know that happens at various points in the games. We never ended up wearing costumes like he had wanted to. What is the hint? Basically just telling me where I may have missed a spot? Joke's on you. I didn't need it. No help needed. Achieve it 100% any stage excluding the tutorial without using hints. Honey, don't you think there's a reason why people take more traditional photos? Because they couldn't come up with anything creative? Are you serious? Can't we just take a normal picture? But, Adora, look at this. What a cute cat. Oh, so you're only trying to talk Adora into your plan now. Our very first family photo together. A seemingly ordinary picture with an amusing story behind it. Bro, you never took a family portrait until she was like, what, 4? Like, you didn't book a photo session where she was asleep and take pictures then? Like, you didn't go... Maybe there's a cultural difference. I don't know where this family's from. Maybe there's a cultural difference and a time era difference where in the late 90s there weren't freaking photo studios in every Kmart. So you get dragged there every year or so to take pictures as you grow up before school pictures. I may or may not be speaking from experience. I may or may not totally still have a bunch of those like older photos of me from when I was like 1.5, 3, and 4 and stuff somewhere in my storage unit. And so ensued a battle between an unstoppable father and an immovable mother. As always, Mom won, leaving Dad with his shoulders hunched in defeat. While Mom was talking to the photographer, I snuck over to Dad and whispered, "Let's wear costumes next time." He only responded with a slight nod. When I looked at the photo afterward, I saw that he had given me bunny ears. Mom noticed shortly afterward and gave Dad a light rap on the head. But the sheer dad-like triumph on his face sent us all into a fit of laughter. I don't even know if this is just chapter 1 that has all 16 of these items on it. I guess we'll have to see. When I was young, Mom often told me it was dangerous to go into the kitchen or attic alone. But the more someone told me not to do something, the more I wanted to do it. One day, when Mom and Dad were out, I excitedly went into the kitchen to examine the cupboard that was just barely within reach. My heart was pounding as I opened the cupboard. There were many beautiful porcelain teacups, and I took out the one I thought was prettiest. Suddenly, the front door opened with a creak. Someone was back. It was the sound of porcelain breaking on the floor. The sharp sound of shattering porcelain froze me in place. I heard Mom urgently calling my name. Once she came into the kitchen and saw what had happened, her face froze. Her face was so pale and stern. I had never seen her look like that before. So now we get the sponge and the toothbrush. Probably use the sponge for the bigger pieces and then the toothbrush for like the finer details, probably. Oh, I like that. I can see how some people might find that annoying, but I like that you actually have to go through and actively hit like all these like cornery bits. It's an exercise in mindfulness or something like that. Now, while I'm thinking of it, just a heads up, there will likely not be a stream next Thursday because it's American Thanksgiving. And the ensuing potential food coma will likely have me out for the count by the time we're back from visiting Mr. Barista's folks and everything. That, and I have to work both of my real life jobs on Friday, which isn't that big of a deal normally, but with it being Black Friday, and it'll be my first Black Friday at my retail job, which I've been told is the busiest day of the year, even though we don't have Black Friday sales, which I find kind of silly. Yeah, so let me put it this way. So our store is not big by any stretch. Like, it's it's a mall store, so it's got, a decent size to it, lots of clothing options, like house goods. It's similar to like a home goods TJ Maxx combo, but it's neither of those. And we don't have like special sales or anything that we do regularly. What's this symbol? It must have some kind of meaning. Yeah, so we don't, even though we don't have sales and stuff, people still come in like freaking nuts to look for stuff. At least that was the impression I got from my boss. I'd say now I'm not good with numbers, mostly because I don't get told what the general everyday store numbers are. But like the past couple of weekends, as we're getting closer to the holidays, it has gotten busier. So like on a Saturday, over the course of the day, the store will do, let's say, $30-something thousand in sales. Which again, nothing to sneeze at, but that's a out of the ordinarily high number for us. I was told that last year on Black Friday, the store did like $50,000 in sales over the course of the day. And I think we only open an hour earlier than normal. So it's not like we open super early or stay open super late or anything like that. No. It's just busy as shit. And me, I always work the ass end of the day. Because I work my other job in the mornings and early afternoons. So I always make the joke of nothing better to do on a Friday night in my early 30s than be here, at work. I'm a level with you. Some of these spots I'm probably not seeing because I need to clean my monitor. So spots I think are like dirt spots in the game are actually just real life dirt spots that I need to deal with. Everyone looking for deals and last minute stuff. Yeah, and that's what I don't get. It's like, yeah, plenty of places have sales on that day. But like, we're not one of them. I don't know. I just don't. And I've never gotten Black Friday as a concept. It's like, yeah, you should be, going out and getting your stuff for the people that you want to get stuff for before the day of. Or like before the holiday, whatever holiday you're celebrating. But like everything concentrated on this one day. You just spent the whole day You know, being thankful for your friends and your family and all this, that, and the other thing. And then you're gonna, like, go to Walmart and elbow somebody's grandma because she picked the bad day to go and pick up some groceries that she needed. That's why I'm glad I work in a grocery store. Yeah, but I can imagine that it also gets busy, like, the day before and day of holidays if you're open. I know a few of the grocery stores around me are staying open on Thanksgiving until, like, mid-afternoon, and then they're closing up. Like, big events like that, I've heard have... It gets real busy. Yeah, but Black Friday is dead. Yeah, that makes sense. This is not related to Black Friday or anything, but, I had a friend who worked in a grocery store at one point, and he was working the day of the Super Bowl. And he said that the store was a complete madhouse, like, in the morning and up to probably whenever the kickoff of the Super Bowl was. But after that, there was nothing. And I said, yeah, I believe that. Probably people getting their last-minute appetizers and everything that they should have got at least yesterday, if not sooner. And I work in a beer cafe. Thanksgiving is not really a let's get drunk holiday. Depending on who you ask. If you ask your alcoholic relative, who generally gets barred from the family functions because of their rampant alcoholism, I'm not going to say that's the only thing they've got going for them. I don't know what that button does. Oh, okay. That's what it is. When you get to a certain point, it'll show you a hint of, like, what you're missing. Since I didn't do this before, I didn't know that. There we go. I totally could have stopped before then, but I didn't want to. Mom, I'm sorry. Didn't mean to break it. Ah, Adora, are you okay? Are you hurt anywhere? Mom, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry I didn't listen to you. And I even broke one of the teacups. It's okay, Adora. Everything's okay as long as you aren't hurt. A porcelain teacup that is barely intact. One of Mom's most treasured possessions. After giving me a big hug, she started to carefully gather the shards of the porcelain in silence. I still couldn't forget how she had looked at the broken teacup. The next day, I secretly retrieved the shards from the trash and clumsily glued everything back together. Then I returned the fragile teacup to its place in the cupboard, hoping that Mom would feel better after seeing it. When Mom discovered the teacup later, she murmured, "This is a much more fitting appearance." I didn't understand why, but her smile looked bitter. What glows in the dark. Clean the item. Mom loved writing with fountain pens, no matter how long the letter or document. Whenever I asked if it was tiring to write so much by hand, she would always say, "It's difficult, but it's worth it." Mom had a routine before writing. First, she would sit at her desk with perfect posture. Then she'd neatly lay out a fresh sheet of paper. Finally, she'd select one ink bottle from her collection and gracefully dip the nib of her exquisite fountain pen. I loved watching this process, so I used to quietly sit beside her whenever she took up her pen. Watching her fill empty sheets of paper with her handwriting imparted a special feeling I couldn't experience anywhere else. She had so many inkwells. Sometimes I'd spend half a day just looking at them all. I don't think she used this one very often. Especially with all these little nooks and crannies on the bottom here, we'll probably need the toothbrush for that. As I doubt is it'll let us get away with it like it did for the picture frame. Or maybe it will. But we'll probably need it more for the top. Like where the cork is and everything. Mr. Barista and I are planning on putting up our Christmas tree on Sunday, I think he said. One of the presents I wanted to get for him and did get for him for Christmas arrived the other day. Every year since we've been together, I've made it something of a tradition to pick up an ornament from an Etsy shop because I'm corny as fuck. Call me a fucking cornfield, that's how corny I am. But ever since we've been together, I've ordered like our first Christmas, our second Christmas, our third Christmas. And this will be our fourth Christmas together. So I ordered that and that came in. And he said he wants to put the tree up and everything probably on Sunday. Got an ad break here. So I'm actually going to take the opportunity to do something real quick and get up, refresh my drink and everything, and we'll be back. Alrighty. We are so back. Basically, I just finished out my snack there. I had some apples and peanut butter. Because for some reason, that was something I was craving when we bought a thing of apples from the grocery store. There's one thing about where we live is there are orchards relatively nearby. And so some of the grocery stores, they have deals and agreements with the orchards. They like take the they are able to like sell the apples from the orchards, I think. Or at least some of them. So it's like fresh local apples. Whenever we got them, one of the hankerings that I had was just some basic ass apple slices and like some peanut butter to dip them in or something. And we only had 2 apples left. One of them was a little too soft for my liking, so I threw that away, and the last one I was able to cut up and have with some peanut butter. So I had that with my special hot cocoa. It's probably like the ever so slightest bit that I'm missing somewhere. That's what this is for. That's what the toothbrush is for. Aha. There we go. Only in the darkest of nights can you discover the star hidden within Louis. That's a quote from Mom's favorite writer. Why is it written on here? Because it's a limited edition ink. Dad and I were still university students, so it took him a lot of hard work to buy it. But it looks new. Is it because you don't want to waste it? Medora, let me show you something. If you write with this ink and then turn off the lights, can you see the words glowing? The darker the room is, the brighter the ink shines. Oh, wow! To Adora, Lily and Ash's beloved daughter. You need to eat a variety of foods to grow big and strong. But I hate carrots. If you become brave enough to finish your carrots, I'll give you a fountain pen as a present. Special ink that glows in the dark. A quote from a famous writer is displayed on the label. Louis. I adored fountain pens, so it was an irresistible offer. Mom looked into my awestruck eyes and said, "You know why I love fountain pens? Because you can learn about someone through their handwriting. Even if I wrote something without much thought behind it, I learned more about myself after reading those words." She gently closed the inkwell. For some reason, after that day, I never saw her use a fountain pen again. Achieving happiness. Clean the item. Dad absolutely loved music. Whenever he could, he'd be humming or playing various instruments. He told me that he used to be in a children's choir and that he had joined a band during his university days. Oh, can you now? Side-eyes my horrible handwriting. Mood, though. That's a big mood. Whenever he returned home from work, he'd sing a little song he composed titled Dad Loves Coming Home. Mom would always warn him about disturbing the neighbors, but she could never mask her smile. Thanks to Dad, music entrenched every dimension of our lives. Sounds at least a little bit like a buddy of mine. His dad went to college for music, so there's a lot of music stuff in their lives. The first line always made me laugh. What was it again? You can't hold me back, I'm free. No one can ever, ever stop me. Was that it? It's just a little guy. Do I have to get all this stuff off of him? Does he have barnacles? Is that what? Oh god, he's got barnacles. Wait a minute. Oh, it's like a little flute or something. Oh, maybe it's an ocarina. Because, like, they make ocarinas in all these kinds of shapes, I think. Not the button I wanted. Not what I am called. And as we go over, like, where the holes are, it plays music. And that's probably where you play it. I'm gonna make the guess that, like, her dad got this for her or something. As a way to get her involved in playing music, maybe. I was always told I was musically inclined. Or at the very least, my mom thought my mom seemed to think that because I liked banging on the various tin containers and pots and pans and stuff that my aunt had at her house, that I would probably make an okay percussionist. At least that was part of the excuse she gave. I think it was also because buying a practice pad and a pair of drumsticks was cheaper than whatever the cost was to rent any instrument, like, from the school. At least that's my thought. By the time I got old enough and wanted to start learning something different, I was able to do it through the school without the expense. I don't know if it was just something that got taken care of because somebody felt bad for me somewhere. I don't know. All I know is I spent like 4 years playing percussion and then another probably 6 years playing saxophone. I mean, if you put one in my hands, I probably wouldn't be able to play very well. I was never good at improv or, like, remembering or playing by feel and remembering. So frankly, if you gave me a saxophone and you really wanted me to, I could probably play the guitar riff for Crazy Train. Whenever I hear Crazy Train come on, like the radio or anything, I'm always sitting there, like, doing the hand motions. If you give me a triangle, I can hit it on command. Listen, I know I said I was a percussionist in, like, elementary and middle school, but if you could do it on command, you'd be doing better than a lot of people that I knew back then. To be quite honest. Part of the reason I got out of The reason I wanted to stop doing percussion was because there were just too many people. And not all of them were good. Adora, I'm done. After my hit single Dad Loves Coming Home, my newest release is Dad Loves the Weekend. Dad, you sure you're not a kid too? Haha, you got me. Since my secret's out, how about a song? Where'd I put my ocarina? Dad, if you love music so much, why'd you become an accountant? Music and accounting are completely different. That's a good question, Adora. You see, I love music, but it doesn't mean that I can't live without it. On the other hand, I get itchy if I don't work with numbers for even a single day. To achieve happiness, it's not about doing what you want. It's about doing what you can't live without. When you find something like that, you'll understand exactly how I feel. A cute turtle-shaped ocarina. Dad often played his own songs on it. Dad is autistic, I'm calling it now. I'd be surprised if he wasn't. Dad then started to joyfully play his ocarina. His face was that of a man who had everything he needed to be happy. I suddenly grew curious and asked, "Then what can't you live without?" He replied, "Lily and Adora. That's why I'm the happiest man in the world." He then declared that his next song would be named Dad is Super Duper Happy. Despite my laughter, I couldn't wait to hear the next release in his Dad series. I often found myself humming his songs, and his words stayed with me. Would I also find something I couldn't live without? A discreet apology. One day, on our way home, we came across a cute kitten crying by its lonesome. I couldn't bear to leave it there by itself, so I begged my parents to let us take it back with us. Without hesitation, Dad started brainstorming ways to lure the kitten. Should we get some food as bait? How about foxtail grass? Maybe a cardboard box. Dad and I excitedly exchanged ideas, but after a few minutes, we realized that Mom hadn't said a single word. Dad really had the heart of a child. Instead of stopping me, he joined right in. Oh my goodness. I get the feeling that the mom and dad had the relationship of she thought that all these cute, for lack of a better term, childish things were probably really endearing early on in their relationship. Like, that's how they ended up getting married and stuff. But, like, especially when it came to, oh, they're having a kid, they have to live a life and everything. It probably became less endearing, and she probably ended up finding it more annoying because she didn't always want to have to be the bad guy. Or the one, you know, who's always worrying about, oh, don't climb on tables, don't get into the cupboard, you might hurt yourself, something might break. I don't know, I could be completely wrong, but that's just the initial impression I'm getting of what we've glimpsed of their relationship thus far. Like, he's always willing to jump in and be a friend rather than be a parent first. And if I had to guess, the mom probably was resentful of that. Like, it can't be fun and games all the time. like, in this particular story, she's probably not saying anything because maybe she's, like, waiting for them to get it out of their system before being like, well, you know, we actually can't do that. Like, we don't have the ability to take care of another creature. We don't have the time, money, energy, whatever, to be able to do that. Which I think is a very important thing to be mindful of for yourself. Because there are some people who they have a pet or two and they don't take care of them, pardon me, properly, for lack of a better term. Like, yeah, they have food and water, they have a place to go to the bathroom, whatever, but they're not disciplined in like any kind of way that matters. So like the animals just sort of mess things up and they don't really face any consequences. And also, like, they don't get paid enough attention like they should, because the person who is their caretaker and stuff sort of treats them more like, I hesitate to say, treats them like a trophy rather than a whole other living being to take care of. You know, their thought process is like self-centered, like, oh, they're here to make me feel better. And it doesn't matter how good or bad I take care of them or give them attention. And it's a hard thing to think about, like, to realize that as much as you want to, you're not able to give a pet or any kind of animal or anything the time and attention that they deserve. I don't think we're ready to own a cat. We don't know how to properly care for one, and we don't have any cat food or supplies. How can we care for it if we can't fulfill its needs? Exactly. Like, you can fulfill its basic needs, like I said, food, water, warm place to sleep and stuff like that, but its needs beyond that. Like emotional, mental enrichment and things like that. But, Lily, aren't you being a bit too serious? Of course, having a pet is a huge responsibility. But Adora can learn how to be responsible by taking care of it. And we can buy whatever supplies we need. Thank you very much for the hydrate, Medi. I hope you're doing well tonight. Today's hydrate is brought to you by hot cocoa that formerly had maple vanilla whipped cream with a scoop of instant coffee. Because it would not be a barista stream without some form of caffeinated beverage in the relative middle of the night. And thank you very much for the stretch, Nova. I'm going to get that right now. I would be doing so much better if I didn't sprain my ankle Monday night. Oh no. I'm sorry to hear that. Like, is it just your ankle that's hurt right now? Are you okay? I hope you're able to do what you need to do to take care of yourself and recover quickly. What if its mother is still around? We might be taking a child from its parent. It could have been abandoned. That isn't something we know for sure. No means no, Adora. A striped cat plushie. It is soft and makes cute sounds when you squeeze it. doing mostly fine. Just gotta hope it's better before Saturday. Is there something on Saturday that you're gonna have to be on your feet for, like work or something? That just sucks. I was so upset that after we returned home, I slammed my door shut and refused to leave my room. That evening, Dad came over and gave me a stuffed animal. It was soft, fluffy, and looked like the kitten from before. Mom bought this for you, but she didn't know how to give it to you. The softness of the plushie mollified the sadness in my heart. A few days later, I saw the same kitten at the same spot. This time, though, it was with another cat with a matching coat. Its mother. Mom was right. If I had taken the kitten home, I couldn't help but feel ashamed. You work Thursday, Friday are my days off at least. Well, that's good. Hopefully you're able to rest as much as you possibly can. Do you have like any kind of brace or wraps or anything to help support it while you have to be on it or anything? Even just like a comfortable pair of boots that have good ankle support or something can be really helpful. I have Vapor Rub. Never doubt the power of Vicks Vapor Rub. Nah, but for real, I hope it's a relatively minor sprain and it doesn't get you down too much. Especially on your days off and everything. Excuse me. So what I'm thinking, we're on number 7. I'm thinking we'll probably go through and finish number 8 and maybe call it a night. I'm not 100% sure yet, but I figure at least making it halfway through this first bit. Because I'm really liking this. And I could see myself sort of doing this as as a low energy kind of, I don't feel like doing like anything. Let's just come here, clean stuff, and learn about how fucked up this family is. It's on the up and up. The swelling is down a considerable amount, and I can very slowly with mild difficulty walk now. Well, that's good. And I'm not like your mom or your parent or guardian or anything, so I'm not going to tell you to not overdo it. You're grown enough, you can take care of yourself. What? Nova says Jesus barista. What? You gonna tell me this family isn't kind of fucked up? But I absolutely agree. It's a little fucked up. Yeah. But I absolutely agree with Nova. Ankle stuff sucks. It is, but Jesus. What? I'm just saying the quiet part out loud. Don't worry about it. My hometown was always too warm for snow. If any snow did happen to fall, it would melt as soon as it touched the ground. Things like snowball fights and snowmen only existed in TV shows and fiction. Some of my childhood wishes included leaving footprints in fresh white snow, making snow angels, building a huge snowman. Stares off into the distance with my own ankle shit problems. Same. When we finally had time for a family trip, I begged to go somewhere with an abundance of snow. And that's how we ended up having a snowy vacation. Thanks to that, I got to check off a lot of things on my bucket list. Oh. If I had to guess, it's probably a snow globe. Doesn't look like it's a music box one, which is kind of disappointing. I had a music box snow globe when I was growing up. Except it wasn't snow, it was actually, it was like glitter. There's probably an achievement for cleaning this without fucking up the flowers. But I'm not getting it. Not this time, anyway. Yeah, as far as ankle stuff goes, I think I've mentioned it before, but I have various ankle problems of my own as a result of a car accident that I was in when I was younger. I haven't mentioned about that. I think I have, but maybe after the ad break I'll talk about it again. I'm pretty sure I have told the story on stream before, but lucky you, I'll tell it again. But we've got an ad break, so we'll be right back. We're back. Or at least we will be back as soon as I click back in the game. There we go. Yeah, so my main ankle issues. Story time that absolutely nobody asked for, and I'm going to subject you all to anyway. So this all starts sometime when I was like 20. Probably like summer. I find out my favorite band, my absolute favorite band of all time, is going on tour, and they're going to a city near me. I say near me, I mean within like an hour or two drive. Enough that I could drive up, you know, and then come home. I was in college at the time, so it wouldn't have been unreasonable for me to, you know, just drive up and then drive home, drive back to my dorm, no problem. Now, now mind you, this was also in the relatively immediate aftermath of my mother dying. Whether or not that has anything to do with what happens in some of the events leading up to this, I couldn't say. Because my mom had died the previous December when I was 19, and this was less than a year later. I've just turned 20. Living with my grandparents at the time. And they're, I hesitate to say overprotective, but they were pretty concerned about me driving to a place I had only visited before, had not driven in before. You know, all that kind of stuff. And they didn't like the idea of me, a 20-year-old, you know, young woman, going by myself, I think. So they were like, if you can get somebody to go with you, by all means, we'll be more than happy to. I can't even say they let me go. I had my own car and everything. I could have lied and just gone by myself. Such a thing did not occur to me at any point. So I was like desperately posting online on my, not just random places online, but like on Facebook with people I knew and stuff. I was like, please, oh please, somebody come with me to this concert. I will drive, I will pay for the ticket, everything. You just literally gotta come through. And a friend of mine, who I had met online through various mutual IRL acquaintances, but I hadn't met her yet. She was like, that sounds great. So I was like, cool, it's decided. I'll come pick you up, like, day of. You just gotta show the fuck up. No, yes, exactly. That's what it was. It's like, I was working, I had the money, I could easily buy the tickets. And relatively speaking, the tickets were pretty cheap. If they're anything like they are these days. I can't even remember if I sprung for actual, like, good seats. I think I might have. Tells you how much I actually remember about the concert itself. I know we left before the headliner, because the band I really wanted to see was the second opening act, so we saw that and then we kind of dipped. Now, mind you, this person that went with me, I think she was like a 3.5 hour drive from my place. And the concert was in the opposite direction, like an hour or two in the opposite direction of where I was. So I drove all the way down to pick her up, drove up to the venue. We stopped back at my dorm. My roommate was out of town or something, but it was me and my friend. So we crashed there for the night. I drove her back, like, the next day. Now, at the time, I don't know if she still is or does or anything. I don't think she does, but she was a Twitch streamer. And she invited me to spend the night at her house, you know, join her for a live stream. It's like one of those, hey, I've got my IRL friend, she's gonna play this game. So I was like, alright, bet. Aha. I knew it was gonna be, like, right on the bottom somewhere. So, deep cut barista lore, my first time streaming was actually in, like, 2016 on somebody else's channel. Dad, the snow crunches when you step on it, and when you lie down, it's so soft and fluffy. Really? Then I want to lie down too. Huh, you're right, Adora. It's really soft. I saw on TV that if you wave your arms and legs like this, You can make a huge snow angel. Then how about we make some big snow angels to watch over our family? Okay. Marshmallows are ready. You two better eat first, or you won't have enough energy to play. A snow globe purchased on a family trip. It evokes many happy memories. Damn, you really were made for streaming. I mean, I guess. Because part of what had happened was it was a long ass stream too. So compounded with another 3.5 hours drive in the car down to her place. With, I hesitate to say it was like an entire 8-hour stream, but that's probably the correct range for it because I played until dawn on her stream, beginning to end. Spoiler alert, I didn't get anybody killed. So, check that. So it was like relatively really late by the time it was like I'm going to bed. I'm gonna pass out. Because I also had still wanted to get up and, you know, get back because I had class in the morning. So I think she kept streaming for a little while I curled up and, like, fell asleep on the couch or wherever she had me. So I get up, I go the next morning. And somewhere in the back roads on the way back to my college dorm, I was just way too exhausted. I should have just taken the L, not gone to class that day, something. I thought I would have been fine. I wasn't. I fell asleep while I was driving. Apparently, I don't remember this part. I hit a telephone pole. What I do remember is waking up to the sensation of going up off a snowbank and flip rolling the car like 2 or 3 times. The car ended up like on its tires and everything upright. So it wasn't like I was hanging upside down or anything or stuck and I couldn't open the door or get out or anything. Well, I mean, I couldn't get out, but that was for an entirely different reason. My first, like, instinct that I was doing was I was gonna get out and, like, see how bad it was. I was freaking the fuck out. And I go to move to try and get out. And, like, you know, when you get out of a car, you sort of push off with your inside leg to get toward the door. Tried that. Oh no. That hurt way more than it probably ever should have. I look down, and, like, in the footwell, there's just, you know, decent amount of blood. So now I'm freaking out even more. My phone is on the floor on the other side, and I can't exactly lean down to get it because that involves moving my leg again. Thankfully, this happened in front of, like, somebody's house. So, like, they probably saw / heard everything happen. You know, they called some guy who was, like, an off-duty first responder or something, stopped to help, stuck around with me while the ambulance came and everything. They took me to a nearby hospital. I think they tried to get, like, some prelim x-rays. I don't remember a lot of details at this point. I mostly just remember freaking out because you know, crashed my car. Probably nobody really knows where I am. Cell service isn't good there. And who knows what anybody knows at this point. I had a relative who lived a couple hours from where this had happened. So, like, she got, like, I called my grandma or something. She called my aunt to come and meet me at the one hospital. So, between, having, being completely panicked and freaking out and just losing my shit, and probably whatever pain drugs they were giving me, I don't remember a lot of details. I do specifically remember, I think it was the people who lived in the house that the crash happened in front of. They came with me, or at least like the wife or somebody did. They came and stayed with me at the hospital until my aunt showed up, just so somebody was there. And they like left me their names and phone numbers and was like, please call us, let us know how everything goes. Things like that. It was really nice. So the place I was at, they were like, yeah, no, we're gonna need to get you to like a better hospital than what we've got for what you need. So back into the ambulance we go. And I get taken to the really big hospital in the state capital. Now, by this point, like, most of the day has passed. Like, this is probably sometime in the evening or night that this is happening. We get there. My grandparents have had time to drive down and meet my aunt and I at the hospital. We're in the ER. And again, I'm just a fucking mess. Not just because of the leg thing, but because I'm just crying and freaking out. Like, oh my god, I'm so sorry, I fucked up. Just getting real worked up. And so they were gonna have one of the like orthopedic surgeons come and check me out or something. But I remember this part. Around the same time, like 4 other car accidents had happened. Or like the victims of other car accidents showed up all around like shortly after I did. And they were all in worse condition than I was. Because other than me freaking the fuck out, I was, stable. It's not like I was, ready to flatline or anything like that. It was just my leg that was really fucked up. And, probably bruises and everything from the seatbelt. Whatever. I was relatively low priority. So at some point, they eventually get an actual room for me, so we're not just sitting in the hallway. Well, not so much a room. They take me in to examine me. And I remember the doctor, like, grabbing my leg to try and, like, get a literal feel for how things were. And it was the worst pain I had ever felt in my life. I probably scared people in the emergency room because of how loud I screamed. The scream I scrumped, as they say. But there wasn't really anything they could do because it was, getting late. They don't have surgeons on call at like 11 or something at night, which was what it was by that point. They were like, we're gonna get you a room and we'll get you in like first thing in the morning and we'll see what we can do. We'll get you all fixed up. Because the x-rays showed that between my 2 leg bones in like that part of my leg down near my ankle, I had broken my leg in 3 places. Like 2 on one side, so there was just a chunk of bone that had like been broken out. And I don't think that's... Again, I don't remember. I don't recall seeing the bone poking out or anything. But something obviously went through something somewhere because, like I said, the car just had, like, a pool of blood in the footwell. Okay, maybe pool is over-exaggerating, but it was a lot. Enough to say, oh, that's not correct. So they finally get me in a room at, like, 1 in the morning. And Again, I probably eventually pass out because of whatever pain meds they gave me. Then I end up spending like, I think it was a week in the hospital down there. I was there for a while. I was there for, like I said, probably a week. You know, you break your leg in 3 places, you get orthopedic surgery with 2 screws and like rods put in on either side of your leg to stabilize it. You become not weight bearing. You got to figure out how to move your ass and the rest of you while not being able to use your dominant leg because it was my right leg. So eventually, okay, but before I continue this story, I'm gonna give you the funny, what I look back now and I think is absolutely kind of hilarious. When I had left my friend's house, I had bought a t-shirt from the concert that we had went to, and I was wearing it that day. Like, I was wearing it when the accident happened and everything. And to get to my leg, the EMTs had to, like, cut my pants off. And I very distinctly remember, crying, like, please don't cut my shirt, I just got this, it's my favorite band. I was losing my shit. Like I said, thankfully that was a non-issue, and I actually still have that shirt. It's right behind me. Although it was very easy when they asked me, what's your date of birth? Today! Because this happened on my 21st birthday. Because the concert was like a day or two before. Yeah, it was on the 21st. Spent the 22nd at my friend's house. Tried to come back in time for class. Had the accident. On my 21st birthday. So I'm in the hospital for like a week. They send me back to my grandparents' house. And thankfully, my grandparents' house is already pretty accessible. It's all one floor. There's a ramp to get up to the back porch and get in the house and everything. Now, they initially sent me home with a walker that I would, like, move forward, hop with my one leg, move forward, hop with my one leg. That sucked. Don't do that when you really have to pee, because it's awful. Then by the time you actually get to the bathroom and get done and you get back to the car, you're so fucking tired, you just say, put me in the trunk, I can't actually get in the car. I say trunk, but they had a van, so it was just opening the hatch and letting me lay in the back. They did. They actually did that. They let me do that. Yeah, and then I think overall I was out of school for like a month. Because it was, some basic at-home rehab, some at-home PT, in-home PT and OT visits, which were people that my grandparents ended up knowing anyway, so that was nice. And I had like a follow-up with my surgeon or something. They were like, yeah, you can resume your normal activities. So, like I said, about a month later, I'm finally back in college and everything. And by this point, we had also discovered the magic of knee scooters, or I think knee rollators is what they're also called. It's literally just, a scooter. You put the weight on your knee so your foot's just like off the back. And you just roll. It was great. It was perfect. There are still people to this day that saw me going around in college and recognized me because of that. Like a couple of years ago, a barista at an actual barista, not just a barista on the internet, from a cafe that I go to, he was like, didn't you used to go around on that? And it's like, yes, I did. And the reason for that is You know, I had follow-up appointments and everything. We had to go all the way, another 2.5 hour drive back down to the surgeon doctor's office. And we find out they find out at some point, this must have been November or December that year. Because, like, they take x-rays basically every visit. You know, they're getting me out of casts and getting me up into a walking boot. Remember how I said that there were 2 breaks on one side of my leg? So there was basically just a chunk of bone that was, like, not attached to anything. Well, that, for some reason, hadn't healed yet. So, like I said, at least probably 9 months out, it's still just a chunk of bone in place. Like, it's not going anywhere, but it's not regrowing or healing or reattaching to itself. It's just there. So, the question then becomes... Well, it wasn't so much of a question as... The following semester, I was set for my study abroad semester in Canada. And there was no way that I could have the surgery to get like cadaver bone put in there and have it heal up properly and, you know, do whatever routine visits I needed before leaving. So it's like, okay, we'll schedule it for after you get back. Like, I still had my knee scooter. I had my walking boot. I was told I could go around on it a little bit. You know, not excessively. But, you know, you're essentially still walking on a broken leg. Maybe don't do that a lot. But, like, I was given the go-ahead to do the study abroad, at least. Not that the knee scooter helped me very much, because that entire campus was a giant hill. Like, my dorm was at the very top of the hill, and, like, all of my classes were in a building all the way at the bottom. Did I mention that this is winter in Canada, in Nova Scotia? So, yeah, that was fun. Thankfully, I at least had the medical exemption that the, like, on-campus shuttle could come and pick me up and take me up to my dorm after classes and everything. I was like, please, oh please, here's my literal bones. You see how it's not attached? I shouldn't do that. Nova Scotia. Yes, Nova Scotia. You Scotia. Yeah, so... Oh, I haven't even mentioned one of the other... I don't know what word I want to use here. I think I'm gonna say complication from the first surgery. In addition to my bone not healing at all, though they had, like, Jesus. Like I said, they put a couple of screws in one side of my ankle to help stabilize it and stuff. I don't know if it was because they put the screws in, but it put my foot off at an angle to where it normally would be. So, like, hello, it's me. So I would say that my foot was facing straight up like this. Nope, that's not it. That's not it. That's not it either. Hang on, there it is. Yeah, so in my brain, I would feel my foot being, you know, straight forward like this. When actually, it was like this. It was off at an angle. Like, my other foot would still be perfectly fine. Like, you know, straight up and down like that. Just like that. But it would actually just So when, despite having to go up and down on a hill, a really steep hill in the middle of winter in Nova Scotia, which really wasn't that much worse than what I had been dealing with, where I normally live, it's literally the same kind of climate. It was just, my study abroad was basically east. The only reason we had to go north was to like drive through to get to the university. Anyway, so despite everything, we get back, or I get back rather, and we go and we do a consult, and they're like, yeah, it's still not healed. We're gonna bring you in for another surgery. Like, okay. And they initially floated the idea of taking like a bone graft from somewhere in my body, like a hip or something. But they ultimately decided on using cadaver bone for a bone graft instead. And after this surgery, my aunt, who lived down in the same area where that hospital was, her house was also made accessible because of her partner. What was it? I think he had MS. So, like, their house had to be made accessible for him. And even though he had passed on, it's not like she was going to take out the ramp and everything that was built or put a tub back in the shower, any of that stuff. So immediately post-operation, when I had appointments and stuff down there, I stayed with her, and she brought me to those. And when it was, oh, you don't have to come here every 2 weeks or a month now, I went back home with my grandparents. What they did in this second surgery, they went back in, both sides, did the bone graft. They put in some screws on the opposite side to straighten my foot back out. So now when my foot is straight, it feels like it's straight, and it looks like it's straight. So it's lined up again. And this time the bone graft actually took. So apparently somebody else's bones are better for my bones than my own bones are. And yeah. Now, I hesitate to say that, it's that stereotypical thing of, oh, I can feel the weather changing with it because of the metal and stuff. No, I don't really think I do. Like, I already had arthritis in that ankle when the accident happened. Like, when they did the initial x-ray after the surgery, you can see the arthritis build up on my one ankle, but not the other one. I find that hilarious. It's like, wow, you were already fucked up, buddy. But yeah, extended periods of time still being up on my feet, if I'm not moving it enough, it still really stiffens up sometimes. But that was, like I said, my second surgery was in like 2017, and I haven't been back down. I'm basically good now. But like I said, it still gives me that pain every now and then. And a relatively recent development seems to be, it feels like some kind of tendinitis in my left heel. Because, like, it really aches and hurts. It sometimes burns. And, like, I move it around and that helps. There's not really much else I can do about that. So sometimes, like, when I get home from work, I sit down and then I get up, I just sort of toddle along like an old lady for a little bit when I first get back up. Ankle twins! Yeah! Every time they would give me a copy of my x-rays, just like a photocopy, I would like post it on my social media, be like, spooky skeleton update. More of a fun fact, after my second surgery, because the staples all showed up on the x-ray, I counted them, and I believe the final number was 27 staples on one side. Okay, I promise I wasn't ignoring all the things that you said. I'm just gonna go back and reread them. Story reminds me of when I had to get my gallbladder out 4 years ago because of the pain I was in. I was being eventually just knocked out on all the pain meds. Yeah, that's basically what it was. Like, that entire first... like, most of that day of the accident and, like, the week in the hospital was a bit of a blur. The main thing I remember was that was the year that Leonardo DiCaprio finally won an Oscar. And I made the joke of, oh, it happened because I was watching the Oscars, because I don't give a shit about the Oscars, but hospital TV, you only have so many options. So I posted on, like, Facebook. I was like, oh, my bad. It's my fault he hasn't won an Oscar till now. But now he's, like, almost 50 and still dating, like, 19-year-olds, so, like, not feeling that. And I remember my grandparents had sprung to get me a little extra TV package that had, like, movies and stuff that I could pick and watch. And I'm pretty sure, I think it was the Les Miserables movie was on there. That was one of them. So I had some things that I could just regularly, actively pick to put on and not just be stuck watching the fucking Oscars or something. And regarding your they see me rollin', they hatin' thing, I really wanted a mini speaker to blare that on my phone whenever I rolled around campus. I really did. I'm really starting to think I got that shit in my left ankle. Oh yeah, the tendonitis. Yeah. Like I said, for me, it's a relatively recent development. I couldn't tell you when this started aching. No. Okay, so. Story time. Continuation of story time. So, when this happened, I think it was... God, was it after my first... It must have been after my first surgery. My same friend who I went to the concert with, we went to PAX East that year. Yeah, it was that year. It was PAX East 2016. She'd rented out an Airbnb for us to stay in and everything. Now, she had a walking rollator, like with a seat and everything, and now me showing up with my knee scooter. What a sight we were. Instead of a speaker to blare, they see me rollin', they hatin' everywhere, I got a bike horn that I put on my scooter. That I would regularly go around and yeah, that was great. I can't remember how well you can actually see it in the pictures that I took with the people that I met there. Is that because I went hee 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 hee? Because fair. Yeah, I can't remember how well you can actually see the pictures of me meeting people like Luca Jin and Proton John, better known as Claire, and like their group of people. That was one of my main reasons for wanting to go to PAX East, was the Throne Controllers panel that they did. And Luca Jin was so sweet. She saw me on my knee scooter and she was like, if you get called up, are you going to be able to go up? Like, up on the stage, because there was like a couple of steps up to it. And I was like, yeah, I'll be fine. It was a non-issue because I did not get called up, but it was one of those things that really just further cemented that how much I liked her. you know, just how, for lack of a better term, how good of a person she was. Because I had like the accessible, like the medical badge, so I could, you know, get in ahead of people, get better seats and stuff like that. Both my friend and I had that. But she was like one of, if not the only person to actively ask me when I went to something if I was going to be okay. And despite, you know, everything, that really made that a good memory of that trip for me. That is also why whenever people say that showering and stuff, you know, basic hygiene is too fucking hard. Listen, the Airbnb we stayed at, the bathroom, like with the shower and everything, was up a flight of stairs. I remember, look at me, jingle, jingle, jingle. I couldn't walk. I crawled up the stairs and dragged my ass downstairs after I showered. So don't nobody fucking say nothing about not being able to take a shower and take fucking care of yourself. I did that when the bathroom wasn't even on the same fucking floor. Don't fucking step to me with that. I'll kick your teeth in. Now, mind you, this is for, like, incels and people who are like, showering is gross. Not people who, like, actually have legitimate issues. Remember, everyone's different. I am remembering everyone's different. I'm just saying, this is more for people who, like, those gross neckbeard types who are like, ugh, showering. That's more of a call out at them. Rather than other people with different levels of ability. Wow, the fact that I've been ranting about this whole thing for over a solid half hour and we've just been sitting on this screen. Oops. Oopsie doopsie. The best part is that this doesn't even get into the butterfly effect of how this whole thing even fucking started. That's a whole fucking other thing. Like, this whole thing could have the butterfly domino effect thing of going back to, like, the 70s and somehow ending up with me having my car accident. At least I think it was the 70s. Now I'm gonna look it up. Oh, even better. It goes back to the 60s. It's a call out to the people who can take care of themselves but choose not to. Exactly, Nova. That's exactly what it is. Like, frankly, I think I could have probably been forgiven for not showering because, you know, crawling up the stairs to get to the shower. But going around a convention is kind of stinky sometimes. And I distinctly remember saying, ugh, I'm stinky, I should go shower. Also, hi Zoe. Yo, that outfit looks like it was made by an unemployed, mentally ill trans femme. I thought you got the job though. How are you still unemployed? Or are you just referring to you were unemployed when you made it? You did not? Oh, I'm sorry. Nova says they've had their tendinitis stuff for probably 2 or 3 years, and that their body goal for next year is to get to a point where I could physically handle being at some type of comic convention thing. Obviously, problems with autism notwithstanding, that's the other big hurdle I have to jump. That's fair. That's very fair. I'm sure you probably have considered this, but if there are any smaller local conventions, I would look into those first. Like we had, I thought I aced the interview at the casino. I'm sure you did. They're just fools. They should have totally hired you. I'll come kick their ass. I will show up in my gym barista outfit and kick their ass. Either that, or you know what? That just means you're gonna go on to get something even better for you. There's a complex really close by that has a Comic-Con during the summertime, and then in the winter it has a farm show. Oh, there you go. Like, especially if you want to... I probably just doxed myself to anyone on the East Coast, but that's what it's got. I think we've had this conversation before, and I don't remember what it is. Or, like, where it is. Like, I know... But that's because I know for different reasons. Not because of you just saying things. So I think you're okay. Now I gotta go scam the casino by counting cards. Just get away with it. That's the important part. But yeah, circling back. You know, I'm at least gonna get this next thing started. You know, there's a game happening. It's not just a fucking yap fest, I promise. Angel, I know how to do it, I just can't do it fast enough to scam a casino. Well, that just means you gotta practice. Get away with it and get enough money that you can give some to me, and Desk, and Barista, and Tricky, and other people that are your friends that are cool. Because, dear God, capitalism sucks ass. Real and true. So, like I said, I'm gonna at least get started with the next thing, and then I'll keep yapping. We made giant snow angels, built snowmen, and had an all-out snowball fight with no regard for how snow-crusted our clothes became. After it grew dark, we gathered round the fireplace and drank sweet cocoa. I've tabbed into the game. Why is it not going? There we go. As the comforting warmth of the fire lulled me to sleep, I could hear Dad humming and Mom turning the pages of her book. On our way home, we bought a snow globe to commemorate all the wonderful memories from our vacation. However, since some time ago, I had deliberately hid the snow globe out of sight. Those warm memories became a source of agony as they reminded me of days I could never return to. Chapter 1 complete. I love how we waited an extra 45 minutes of me yapping to finally finish that. So it looks like... Yeah, so it looks like the chapters are this. If I did scam a casino by counting cards, it would first go to my partners after I get what I need. Don't want to be rich, so I'd be giving away money if I somehow got a lot. I feel that. Like, if I ended up coming into some money somehow, I would use it to take care of, like, whatever debts I need to get settled. And then, you know, make sure I have a solid cushion for bills and stuff. I'm gonna sound kind of selfish when I say I would take care of myself and Mr. Barista first. Before I thought about taking care of other people. Like, obviously, it's not that I don't love and care about my friends and my family and everything, but, like, how can I work towards helping other people if I can't even be helped myself, or if I can't help myself. Same, like, make sure I'm all good and that my mom's good and that my friend knows, because I don't have a romantic partner. Exactly. You can't help others if you can't help yourself. Exactly. That's exactly it. Now, Nova, you said you wanted to go to Canada at some point. Do you know where you want to go? And when you want to go? These are important factors to consider. Okay, as much fun as this game was, I completely just derailed it and went into a fucking just chatting. Fuck it, we ball. That's what we're just gonna sit here on the title screen and listen to the music and just yap for a little bit longer. I technically know where our general area. As for when, probably summer, so it's not too cold, or late spring, early fall. That's pretty solid. Especially depending on where you want to go as far as touristy stuff. If you want to go to visit the national parks they have up there, or probably other tourist attractions like museums and things like that. Lots of that stuff is definitely more open during the summer than it is in the winter. Niagara Falls is a must. Niagara Falls is very nice. It really is. I've been there a few times over the course of my life. Not any time recently, but from what I remember of the few trips that I've taken there, it was very nice. If I had unlimited funds right now, I would buy a house, convert it to solar power, bring my partners to live with me, and then get enough to live comfortably the rest of my life. Yeah, that's basically the dream, I think. Get yourself a stable place to live. Get your loved ones with you. Make your place perfect for you. And yeah, just live your life, man. Live your life. That's what I would do. But yeah, even in the middle of winter, Nova Scotia was very nice. Because even when the semester ended, it was late April, so it was mid-spring. Also, I would open a cafe and hire you. So you have to remember, I am not a real barista. My coffee skills are limited to Keurig and instant coffee. That's about it. Just realized I'm more like a dragon than I'd ever probably ever realized or care to admit, because I totally would, if I could and had the money, have all my friends just live with me in a giant mansion, because I'm a fucking dragon hoarding shit. You are hired. Look behind you and the contract is signed. Oh. I don't remember signing this. I think my signature was forged. I had to forge your signature. I knew it. But yeah, like I said, even in winter, Nova Scotia was very nice. For obvious reasons, I wasn't able to get around much on my own while I was in school. But when my grandma and my aunt came and picked me up after the semester was over, we went down to a place called Peggy's Cove in Nova Scotia, which was doubly funny for us because that was what my grandmother was called, Peggy. So we were like, we gotta go to your cove while we're here, Graham. And we did, and it was nice. Like I said, it was surprisingly nice weather for late April. Yeah, that's another place if I can, just because of the namesake. Yeah, it's... like I said, the few places I actually got to see when I was there that weren't the college campus were gorgeous. They were very nice. And if I ended up coming into like some lump sum of money someday after getting everything taken care of, I wouldn't mind going back there someday. If only to be like, so this was my dorm. This was the pizza place I ordered from and gained way too much weight because all I did was order out pizza like the entire fucking time. Not the entire time, but Donair Pizza had me by the throat. It was so fucking good. Oh great, now I'm getting hungry. A friend asked me, if you were to open a business, what would you do? I went a cafe, and a friend went, you could hire a barista. You can hire me, just don't expect actual good product. And I know he meant you because this conversation was in Spanish and no one says barista in Spanish. Oh, great. Well, all right. If you'll pay to get me taken care of and accept my mediocre coffee in as work, then fuck it, we ball. You already forged my signature anyway. It's the same word, but nobody uses it. Gotcha. What a day. You know what's wild? While sitting here reminiscing and retelling about everything that happened with my ankle and with my accident and everything, my ankle was starting to feel weird. Like it was starting to ache. Also, you get paid in love, coffee, and whatever you can steal without me noticing. I am not good with IRL sleight of hand. I promise you that. Yeah, no, I sort of mentioned it, but you ever think about how some relatively minor things end up butterfly affecting into, like, absolutely massive things? Like, I sort of touched upon it, but I'll try to give the, see, what you have to do if you're not good at sleight of hand is you just have to have the biggest balls and take it right in front of her and act like it's yours. This is true. This is very true. I'll have to give that a try next time. But yeah, see, I don't know if part of why I keep thinking about the butterfly effect, especially when it pertains to this whole thing, was because I played Until Dawn right before the accident happened anyway. But just thinking about all the series of events that led to everything that happened. Like I said, you can even start tracing it back to 1969. When the song Bad Moon Rising comes out, put out by Creedence Clearwater Revival. There's a reason that's relevant to this whole thing. And Nova, I think you'll either like or hate what I'm about, how this series of events plays out. She'll either be so flabbergasted that she'll not be able to comprehend what just happened, or she'll be impressed that you just had the balls to do that. What? About how The Legend of Zelda plays a bit of a role in my butterfly effect of everything happening. Because at least you're somewhat familiar with some of it, I think. Oh dear. Now see, I don't know what you're thinking, but I can guarantee you it's not what you think. Not how you're thinking. So back in I am very familiar with Zelda. Yeah, so mostly I was just referring to the fact that it's a step in my butterfly effect. It's like one of the dominoes that happens. So back in the late aughts, when Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged and stuff was coming out, people were making all kinds of abridged parodies of things. And this one guy made a Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time abridged. And me around the age of 14 or something, it's one of your canon events. It is. It really is. Send me the link. I will send you the link later, but remember, this came out in the late aughts, and I don't remember how well some of the jokes have aged. It's been a while since I watched it. I don't think there's anything too awful, but I could be wrong. Anyway. But, early mid-teenage me on YouTube, watching stuff on YouTube, I encounter this at some point or other. Funniest shit I've ever seen. And so after the Ocarina of Time abridged series is done, he starts doing Majora's Mask. I mean, look, I've watched Hellsing Ultimate and Hellsing Ultimate Abridged. Okay, fair enough. And, see, this is where the 1969 bit with Creedence Clearwater Revival comes back. Because of the way YouTube's copyright and stuff works with music and things, the guy who made that abridged series could not use the song that he wanted to. He wanted to use Bad Moon Rising by Creedence Clearwater Revival, because, the whole moon thing with Majora's Mask and stuff. So what he uses instead ends up being this song called Full Moon by this band, Sonata Arctica. And Sonata Arctica, I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. I'm going to look them up. And I did. And that's where it starts. That's where things start coming together. I listen to Sonata Arctica. It becomes one of my favorite bands. They're the ones I go to see that concert for. So, I sort of summed it up on Twitter at one point, talking about, I forget when it was, but it was a while back. There was some kind of, butterfly effect kind of stuff. And I talked about how, YouTube copyright stuff basically led to these events. How, if the guy who made that abridged series had been able to use the Creedence Clearwater Revival song that he wanted to, I would have never listened to Sonata Arctica. I would have never grown to love them as a band. I would never have wanted to go see them. I probably would never have gotten in that accident. So it's just one of those... It's just so wild how it all comes together when you think about it. Because some British guy in 2009 is unable to use the song he wants to, that ends up leading to the whole chain of events that end up with me, having the accident and basically just directly changing the course of my life. This music has Kingdom Hearts vibes. Now I now want to stream on Twitch Kingdom Hearts. I mean, if you want to. Your channel, you do what you want. But yeah. I don't really know what to say from here. I've basically just been yapping nonstop about myself for the past, like, hour. But dear God, I do not have the storage for it getting nerfed in my storage because the storage drive was fucking expiring and dying and sucks ass. Oh dear. Yeah. So, not exactly what was expected out of What the H Wednesday. And you know what? I think that's perfectly okay. Because I think everything that's happened today, it's really putting the What the H in What the H. It's like, what the H is she talking about? She's been talking for over an hour non-stop about her fucking self. Which, I mean, yeah. You don't understand. I went from 1 terabyte to 500 gigs. I got a 50% nerf. How did that even happen? Do I want to know? Pardon me. Yeah, that means it's definitely time to call it. Well, the good news is I only work the one job tomorrow, so I can come home and take a nap. There's one of the things I absolutely love about adulthood is I can just come home and take a nap whenever the fuck I want. Well, maybe not whenever I want, but you know what I mean. Like I said, the 1 terabyte drive was, according to the guy fixing my computer, not in the best state. It was slowly on its way out, and by slowly I mean replace it the fuck now, because this is what caused your computer to not be able to boot up. Oh. Gotcha. I see what you mean. Alright. On that note, let's see where we're gonna go. Let's see where I'm gonna take you and drop you off. That same guy, hopefully, but at the time, and a 2 terabyte drive he was willing to sell me for about, I think, $125. Don't know if he still has it. Been trying to save up money, but shit keeps happening and I can't keep the money long enough to actually save up. Does not help when you spend $20 on games for me. So. But I'm sure you'll get there. I believe in you. Let's see, where are we gonna go? Think. Touche. Yeah, touche. You silly gremlin. But I believe in you. I have a couple ideas of where to go. I think... Ah! Sorry, I was busy looking. I didn't even see you throw me. How rude. Here, hang on. Let me... Here, I'll make it up to you. Graph. Those are all my outfits. Here's that. Here it is. Here we go. Ah! Ooh. Ugh. There. I even made it so you could see me not stick the landing. But yeah, I think what we're gonna do... Oh, this cursed drawings, my beloved. Right? We are gonna go raid... We're gonna go raid Desync, who is currently doing a Legend of Zelda randomizer using Archipelago. I think that's what it's called. Where it's like multiple people playing a game. Like they're all playing different Zelda games, and whatever things they're getting in their own game actually aren't for them. So like if one of the people they're playing with pick up like an item, it won't be for them. Like it won't be for themselves, it'll be for one of the other people playing it. At least that was my understanding of how it works. It's really cool. It's really cool sounding. I was watching a bit of it earlier with Mr. Barista, and seemed pretty neat. So let's go pop in and see how they're all doing. And as always, thank you for joining me here tonight for whatever the H this was on this Wednesday. I hope you all have a good rest of your night or day, or insert time zone here. Take your meds, drink some water, eat some food, get some rest, do what you gotta do. Bye!